Welcome to the guiding videos of the map reading modules. In today's video, we're going to share with you about the topics of direction. Actually, this topic is quite easy because we have already used direction on a daily basis. But for geography subject, there are actually three ways to show direction on maps, and they are called the compass point, the whole circle bearings, or the reduced bearing. So the first one, the compass point, so is the most, I think it's the easiest one because we use it daily. So we use four different letters, N, E, S, W, to uh, express direction. So N stand for north, E stand for east, south stand for south, and west stand for west. Of course, these kind of expression can further be divided into eight different direction. So that would be NE representing northeast, SE representing southeast, SW representing southwest, and NW representing northwest. So one thing to remind you is actually is different from the Chinese expression because for Chinese expression, these would be 东北. So the first one would be east, and the second one it would be north if we express it in Chinese. But for English, everything is the opposite. So the first uh, one here would be north, and then comes by the east. So everything must start by north or south. But for Chinese, so the first letter would be east or west. So it's the opposite. You have to bear in mind these differences. Okay, and of course, it can then be further divided into 16 points compass. So for this kind of expression, actually, northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest would be the basis. And then we just see whether the direction is closer to the north side or to the east side. When it's closer to the north side, we will put an N in front of NE, so that would becomes NNE. That means this direction falls in the northeast region, but it is closer to the north. Or when it is closer to the east, we would put an E in front of the NE, so that would become ENE. So it means that the direction falls in the northeast region, but it is closer to the east side. So that would be the first type of expressions of direction. And the second one is called whole circle bearings. And this one is also quite easy because I believe many of you have already learned it in your math subject because I think it should be one of the compulsory part of your mathematics. So for this kind of direction expression, actually the compass is divided into 360 degree. So the start point here, the north side would be expressed at 0 degree, and then everything is gradually increased in a clockwise direction. So when it getting closer to the east, that will be 90 degree, and when it get to the south side, that will be 180 degree. And when it get to the west side, that would be 270 degree. So at last, when it get back to the north, so you can also see that north can be also expressed as 360 degree. So actually, north can be expressed as 0 or 360, both correct. So that would be the whole circle bearings, and it's just the same as the one we use in our math subject. So the most difficult one would be the last one, the reduced bearings, because it is less common. And actually, it's a combination of the first one and the second one. So we will both use uh, letters and also use numbers to express the direction. So how to do it? Actually, the circle of the compass is divided into four different quadrants. They are called the northeast quadrant, the southeast quadrant, the southwest quadrant, and also the northwest quadrant. So for each quadrant, actually, you won't find anything larger than 90 degree. So you won't find 91, 92, 93, or 100 and something because everything must be smaller than 90 degree. Why? Because right now, if you imagine, if here right now here you find 91 degree, actually it won't fall into the first quadrant anymore, For 91 degree here, actually we will get into the second quadrant, which is the southeast quadrant. So everything here would be smaller than 90 degrees, and we measure all the angles from N and S. So for this kind of expression, the north side and the south side would be the start point. So actually, right now you can see whole circle bearing 45 degree. So if we want to convert it into the third expression, which is the reduced bearing, firstly, we have to write down N at the front and E at the back to express it falls into the northeast quadrant. So N at the front and E at the back. And in between, we can also put the uh, numbers in between, which is 45 degree. So and 45 degree east, that would be the expressions of reduced bearings. But when we get to the second quadrant, so things will getting harder because uh, when we come to the second quadrant, so for whole circle bearing, you can find right now here should be 150 degree, but actually I told you that for reduced bearing, everything should measure from south or north. So for these angles, actually this angle has already falls into the second quadrant, which is the southeast quadrant. So for this quadrant, everything should measure from the south side. So everything should measure from the south instead of north. So we won't directly use the 100 degree, but instead we will just use 180 degree because it is the angle of a straight line. And then we use the degree to minus 150 degree. And then we can then have the degree of this angle. So actually, for whole circle bearing, 150 degree. When we convert it into the reduced bearing, that would be as 30 degree east. As 30 degree east because it falls in the southeast quadrant. And the 30 degree here should measure from the south side. And for the third quadrant, similarly, so we also measure everything from the south side. So for whole circle bearing, right now you can see it's 240 degree. But actually, we also have to use the number and then minus it by 180 degree. So finally, we can then get the answer, which is 60 degree. So the reduced bearing would then be as 60 degree west because it falls into the third quadrant, which is the southwest quadrant. So S at the front, W at the back, and in between, we use 240 and then minus the angle of a straight line, which is 180. So finally, we get 60 degree here. And at last, the last quadrant, the northwest quadrant. So this time we got the whole circle bearings of 320 degree. And for this part, of course, it is the northwest quadrant. So you can also write down N at the front and also W at the back. But this time we have to minus 270. Let me see. Oh no, because everything is measured from the north side. So we have to use the angle of a circle, which is 360 degree, to minus the whole circle bearing, so that we can get 40 degree, because we have to find this angle instead of this angle. So the answer would be N 40 degree west. Sure. I think that's it for today's. And here is a summary for the three ways to show direction using a compass. So, including the first one, the whole circle bearing, and also the reduced bearing. So, please make sure that you can understand all of it. And I think I will see you next time. Bye bye.